to another brutal though subtle treatment of Michael Jackson. Today is Friday, and it's the 1-year anniversary of when Michael Jackson was quietly slept off into the land of the dead with the drug he needed to be able to sleep after the beating, the brutal beating Michael took at the hands of cold-hearted, cold calculating district attorneys of Santa Barbara County. Tom Sneddon, who had been in office for 25 years, Ron Zonen, who leaked information about Jesse James Hollywood to the media to make a movie about it before they're even done with that whole trial scenario of all the people that needed to be indicted. Gordy Auchincloss, or I often joked and called him Squawkincloss, and a fourth DA, and some other, what I consider those district attorneys, unindicted criminals for number one, the felony of falsifying the fingerprints of Michael Jackson and Gavin Avizo and presenting it to the jury, a story that seemed plausible. Oh, so Michael gave you this barely legal magazine in bed to get you aroused. Well, that whole thing fell apart, and the national media didn't tell you when Tom Mesereau showed the date of publication of that barely legal magazine, which was months and months and months after Gavin Avizo had said not once, not twice, but at least 5 or 6 times on the record when he had last been at Neverland. Was months before the magazine was even published. So how did Gavin get his fingerprints on the barely legal magazine that Michael had an index finger or a thumbprint or something on it? How did that happen? At the 2004 indictment of Michael Jackson grand jury, when this experienced prosecutor, Tom Sneddon, handed the boy the magazine with no gloves on. And we know that because one of the grand jurors spoke up and said, shouldn't that boy be wearing gloves? No, wait a minute. Tom Sneddon is not a brand new, green and wet behind the ears district attorney fresh out of law school. He had been there for 25 years. In my view, Tom Sneddon could have only done this with premeditated malice aforethought, falsifying and programming the evidence to make it appear to the jury that Gavin's story, which was already been rehearsed, fits the evidence. But they didn't reckon how thoroughly Tom Mesereau would go through every piece of paper from that grand jury indictment and find the flaws. That was just one felony committed by Ron Zonen, Gordy, and Tom Sneddon. The fact that all three of them conspired to commit a felony is a second felony. And there's the felony of concocting the phony phone evidence. 3 felonies committed. Now, I'm not a Michael Jackson fan. I've said this often. But I am a fan of justice. And if we don't hold the unindicted criminals that work in the district attorney's office, not talking about Dan Raymer and his $80,000 loan that, to Josh Lynn, I'm not talking about that. And there may be many other unindicted felons working within the district attorney's office. But until we, the people, form a special grand jury and bring that indictment, none of us are truly free. None of us. When they can take a famous celebrity with the amount of cash generation that Michael Jackson had and beat him up for more than a year, the actual in the courtroom trial, but there were motions and things going on behind the scenes that were never shown to the public. But from February to June 13th, Michael Jackson was ritualistically abused as if he'd been strapped on a torture rack and tortured with lies. And his mother, Catherine, had to sit there with tears falling from her eyes, enduring lie after lie, even though in the afternoon the defense would tear the liars apart, prove their perjury to the jury, which is why the jury came back and said not guilty. Even Majestic, a family friend, said William Wagener was the only one who was absolutely confident that Michael would be found not guilty on all charges. And that's because I was there listening with an analyzing and critical ear, taking copious notes. And then in the evening, I would do other investigative work behind the scenes. So we have 3 felonies that should be brought. And the reason I think they still could be brought is because the district attorney's office has all conspired to cover it up and just pretend like everything is fine. We'll just go on with business. No, we don't go on with business as usual. Joyce Dudley, you have a responsibility to bring up the 2005 court record, read that record, and see that there are indictments due. If you don't do it, a special grand jury will have to do it. I want to take you now to a visit we had at Neverland just today. And then we went to Forrest Lawn. This is today, Friday, June 25th, footage from Forrest Lawn. But we stopped at Neverland to give you a glimpse there. We'll go to that. We'll be back in a little bit. Anniversary of the day Michael Jackson died in a Hollywood house down in Hollywood area in Los Angeles. We're out at Neverland Gate, June 25th, 2010. And the signs are still up from last night that the fans were coming out here last night. But most of the fans have gone down to Hollywood at Forrest Lawn, where right about 11 to 12, the mausoleum, the Forrest Lawn people have agreed with Randy Jackson to open it up to the fans. So we're going to take you down there to Los Angeles right now. Come on along with me. Well, here we are. We're at Forrest Lawn in Glendale, where there are literally thousands and thousands of fans. They go down here. We just missed LaToya, members of the family.
Hi!
Where are you from?
Santa Clarita.
Santa Clarita. Very good.
Love for Michael forever.
And the fans are coming in. We missed the family. They have a private area for RSVP guests where the family's meeting with certain people from the fan clubs and things. But the general public, and just thousands and thousands, the media is out on the street. They don't get up this far. But the people coming here, it's like they're going to see a saint. And maybe he was a saint. Let's take a look. The outrage. Most people still don't know that Tom Sneddon committed 3 felonies in the trial. 3 separate felonies.
Who has to charge him with them, though?
Well, come over here. You're from where?
Western Australia.
Western Australia, where?
Perth.
Perth.
Capital city of Western Australia.
And you came a long way. And you're from where?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Your name is?
Kim.
Kim, and your name
Michelle.
is? Michelle.
Chloe.
Chloe. And you saw my video on YouTube.
In Perth. Yep.
When? Just the last couple of weeks?
Last couple of months we've seen it.
Last couple of months.
2 different things I've seen you do, and I hadn't heard of anything like that before.
Well,
we hear nothing in Australia like this.
So the media did a total blackout.
Oh, absolutely.
Hello.
Love you, Michael.
It's at Glendale, Forrest Lawn and Glendale, Sharon. A lot of people here. It's off San Fernando. Well, I'm glad you made the trip here.
Well, we had to.
Certainly. It's my plan, and I need the fans to help me. But my plan is to get like 1 million fans that each are willing to donate $10, and we create the documentary. I've already talked to people in Hollywood.
But will the documentary change anything?
Oh yes. People don't know how biased this trial was.
Oh, I do.
They don't know that 3 felonies were committed against, but the general non-fan public
But cannot
doesn't
a
know.
lawyer now, knowing this, go and charge somebody?
Yes.
Why
Yes,
don't
because
they?
there was conspiracy by the district attorney's
The
office.
doves, guys, the doves. Get the doves, please.
Look at that.